Hi, this is George Cow, and welcome to Our Highest Work, a podcast, video channel, and community where we are exploring the best ideas for spiritually based business and life success. One of the things that I love talking about, as you probably know, is creating great habits. And I just finished reading a book by Gretchen Rubin. She's very well known in the happiness community, you might say psychology of happiness, and she has written a new book called Better Than Before, which is about creating great habits. And that's something that she has been blogging about for a long time. And finally, she decided to put a book together. She studied a lot of the methods that other people have shared about how to change yourself. And so I got the book from the library. And that's actually one of the things habit tips, I might say, is I used to have a habit of buying books and then not reading them. Just they go on the shelf. And, and especially once I started reading, buying books on Kindle, being able to have it on my phone, it was very easy to buy books, have it on the shelf, and not even remember that it's there because I don't physically see it on the shelf. And so what I started doing was requesting books from the library. So if you live in a place with a library that's not too far, chances are you can go to the library's website or go into the library, request whatever book you want, and either they can get it for you or they can do an interlibrary loan. Really, I started doing this actively last year, and I have read more books since I started doing that than when I was buying books and putting them on a shelf. So highly recommend that methodology, because when I borrow a book from the library, there's a due date. I have to turn it back in 3 weeks, or then I can renew it, but I can only renew a certain number of times. So I know that I have to figure out what are the nuggets from the book before I return it. And so it makes me I say, okay, this is a 280-page book. I would love to return it in 4 weeks. So each weekend, I'm gonna set a goal of getting through 70 pages each weekend. And what that also has done for me is, instead of feeling like I have to read every single page, okay, this is one of the great things that physical books has an advantage over digital ones, is that instead of reading every page, I feel like I can quickly scan. If it doesn't look interesting, I skip the page. I skip the next page. Yeah. So I'm much better now about skipping pages when it doesn't look interesting. I kind of glance, and especially if I don't see any phrases or sentences that jump out at me, if it's just telling a story that didn't sound very interesting to me, I'll skip it, because I know that there are virtually unlimited numbers of books that are must reads in the world, and I'm here to gather useful, impactful information and then sharing it with you all. Now, some of you may actually some of you may not feel that prerogative, and you may just enjoy reading a book cover to cover, word for word. But for me, I am practicing now skipping pages when it's not interesting and just getting the nuggets, occasional story that's useful, merging with my own experience, and then presenting it to you. So I'm happy to present to you my insights from the book Better Than Before by Gretchen Rubin. And I have I also took notes, quite a bit, I think 8 pages of notes from the book. So I will include the link to the notes underneath the video. And so you can feel free to read if you wish to, instead of watching this. But hopefully I'll make the ideas come alive, be more interesting, just for my voice and my hand gestures here. So, all right, habit creation. One of the key things that I really liked from her book is her concept that there is no single formula for habit change that works for everybody all the time. She says that there are habit personalities. And I like that idea, because just like there are personality types, some people are more introverted, some people are more extroverted, some people are more thinking oriented, some people are more feeling oriented, right? So different personality types. Same thing with habit change. Why wouldn't there be different personality types for habit change, right? And she actually says that there's 4 personality types. There's the upholder, which is the person who is all about upholding rules. And so if there are rules that are set, whether it's external rules or internal rules, they tend to follow it. There is the questioner, which is the person who questions authority, questions the rules. But if they get good reasons why they should follow a rule, okay, if it satisfies their mind, then they're much more likely to follow it. Okay. There's the obliger, which is the type of person who really gets motivated by external accountability, external rules. They oblige other people's, so if someone's expecting them to do something, they're much more likely to do it. If they come up with their own rule, they're less likely. The obliger doesn't really follow their own internal stuff. They follow the external rules and obligations. And fourth type is there's the rebel. The rebel is the person who doesn't like to follow rules, internal or external, and they need to do certain tricks to trick themselves into creating habits. That's a really tricky one. I didn't find her 4 habit personality types helpful to me per se, but what I did find helpful is the idea that there's no one formula and different people like different things. So I'll share with you some of her juxtapositions that I found helpful. So for example, when it comes to habit change, some people find it really helpful to start small, and other people find it really helpful to have a really big vision, sort of crazy thing to start with. So I'll give you an example. Let's say that the habit is to exercise more, okay? So some people would say, all right, to exercise more, I got to start baby steps. So my first week's habit let's just say running is the exercise, okay? In my first week, the start small people will say, what's going to work for me is my first week, I'm going to get used to putting on my running shoes and literally stepping outside my door. If I do that consistently every single day for a week, then the next week, what I'll graduate to is now that I have a habit of putting on my running shoes at a certain time of the day, stepping out the door, okay, maybe just enjoying the sun. The second week, I'm going to step out the door and I'm going to walk down the block and I'm going to come back. Okay, so you see the example of starting small. And literally, there is a book called Small Steps, Big Changes, I think it is. Actually, no, that's not the book. I read a book a while ago. I'll have to find it and put it in the episode notes below this video. I read a book a while ago which has made a very compelling case why starting small is the best way to change habits. Now, again, given what Gretchen Rubin's research is, this book that I'm telling you about, it's not necessarily for everyone. So some people are more inspired by starting big, meaning, okay, they're going to go on a running habit. Then they're going to say, all right, the first week, what I'm going to do is I'm going to jog for half an hour from doing nothing, from not jogging at all. I'm going to just, first week, what inspires me is I'm going to just start jogging for half an hour. And for those people, it may actually work. They may actually keep it up because they're inspired by that half hour, habit. And they were able to keep going. They're not inspired by the starting small, right? But other people, they know themselves to know that the half hour is not going to work. They're going to get discouraged, and they therefore need to start really small. So that's an example of how you need to understand yourself, whether you are a starting small type of habit creator or starting big type of habit creator. Now, another nuance I'm going to give you is that it may depend on what the habit is. So, for example, exercise may be a different strategy. It may turn out to be a different strategy for you versus, I don't know, writing. Maybe with exercise, you're better at starting small, but maybe with the writing, you're better at starting big. So maybe you're not writing at all. And you say, you know what? I really, really feel compelled to write more regularly. So I'm just going to start doing an hour a night. From 9 to 10 p.m. I'm going to write, and then maybe that really works for you because maybe starting small with the writing doesn't work as well for you because 5 minutes of writing just isn't satisfying. So in other words, don't assume that a single habit formula a single habit change formula is going to work for you for all habits. It will depend on the habit, and know that starting small or starting big, both can work, but you need to think carefully or try out and see which one works better for you for whatever habit you're trying to create. Okay. Okay. Second juxtaposition is accountability versus rebellion. Some people do really well with accountability, meaning them telling someone, okay, I'm going to be jogging half an hour Monday through Friday. Please ask me as often as you can, did I do it? Okay, some people do really well with that, checking with their accountability. But other people tend to rebel. And so they need to basically, actually, they may even want to tell someone who they know is going to say, well, you can't possibly do that. There's no way. And they'll say, well, let me prove you wrong. Okay. So they may need to tell someone they know is going to disbelieve them, and they will prove them wrong. Right. So accountability versus rebellion. Okay. The third type is an occasional break. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to first talk about what some of the basic habit goals are, and then I'll go back to the habit personalities, okay? Because I think having some context around these habit changes are going to be useful. So from reading the book and also from my own experience, there are basically 12 main habit goals that many people are trying to create. 12 basic changes they're trying to create. Most of us are trying to create in our lives. Here are the 12. Number 1, healthier eating and drinking. Eating more nutritious food, less fatty food, perhaps. Actually, these days, it's not less fatty, it's less carb, right? Healthier drinking means making sure you drink more water, maybe drinking less alcohol, that kind of thing, right? So healthy eating and drinking is one habit goal. The second habit goal that many people have is regular exercise. Should go without saying. The third basic habit goal for many people is wiser use of their money. So maybe spending less money, being better about saving, okay, that kind of thing. That's the third one. Fourth basic habit goal is more nature time. So more time spent in parks, forests, at the beach, at the lake, in a mountain, just more time with Mother Earth. The fifth basic habit goal is better rest. So either getting more sleep or getting better sleep by changing your sleep hygiene. And if there's interest, if any of you are interested in having me delve into any one of these habit goals, please let me know below the video. I'm always happy to share. Okay, so share my thoughts and sort of what I've learned about these things. Okay, so better rest is number 5. Number 6 is creating habit to accomplish more. So getting better about how we work, less distraction, turning off the Facebook or turning off the email when we work, or wallowing less in fear and frustration, and getting better with our work habits, that kind of thing, in our thinking habits, so that we can accomplish more. Number 7 common habit goal is to simplify and organize. So this is like maybe decluttering once a week, whether it's the physical counters in your home or the computer desktop, right? So decluttering, okay? Number 8 is better relationships and social time. So spending more time with loved ones and friends, or making that time you spend with them higher quality time. So that's another common wish that people have in terms of creating better habits. Number 9 common habit area for improvement is wiser giving and volunteering. So basically helping other people without needing for them to give you something back. So outside of your job, or maybe even in your job, but basically how you give money to charities, and also how you help charities and other social efforts. Okay. Number 10 common habit goal is wiser boundaries. Wiser boundaries. So if there's somebody in your life or in your business that is continually taking your time and energy more than is fair, how do you create a habit of setting better boundaries with people like that? Okay. Number 11 is a habit of improving your relationship with yourself, with your higher self, or with God. And so that's a common one, very important. And number 12 is the habit of having more fun, right? Having more fun and having more time off. So those are like the 12 basic goals that many people have, where habit change, ideas can literally change their life. And I'm going to share with you a couple of quotes here that I thought was inspiring. This is from Christopher Alexander, who was I guess a famous architect, and he wrote, "If I consider my life honestly, I see that it is governed by a certain very small number of patterns of events." Isn't that interesting? So look at your life. Take a good look at your life, and you'll notice that most of your life is basically habits. Most of your life, if you look at it, is basically the same patterns of events happening again and again. Behavior that you do, the habit of how you respond to other people, the habit of how you respond to your work, the habit of how you respond to food or exercise. You know, so it's patterns that make up your life. So if you consciously change a pattern in your life, you literally change your life. So let me share another quote with you. But this one is by Virginia Woolf, the famous writer. And she wrote, "Habits gradually change the face of one's life, just like time changes one's physical face and one does not know it." I'll say that again. Habits gradually change the face of one's life as time changes one's physical face and one does not even know it. So that's how subtle and powerful of an effect that your habits have on your life. And if you consciously tweak your patterns, you make dramatic change over the long term in the direction of where you end up in your life. Okay. So those 12 areas I said earlier, I hope you'll think about, you write them down, rewind this video, write them down, and think about what you would love to have different in that area of your life. Okay, so let me go back to the habit personalities. So I've talked about starting small versus starting big. I've talked about accountability versus rebellion. Now let me talk about occasional break versus no break in the chain. Oh, sorry, I should say occasional break versus keep the chain going. Okay, so this is two types of personality. So one type of person likes to take occasional breaks in whatever good habit they're trying to create or bad habit they're trying to stay away from. Other people say, no, I've got to just continue on the chain. So I'll give you my example, is that when it comes to following or when it comes to posting on social media, that's a habit I'm trying to create. I'm doing little 4-minute videos every single day. I'm uploading it to my my Facebook fan page and onto YouTube and into my Facebook group. And I do this Monday through Friday. Okay, and I take a break Saturdays and Sundays. Okay, because the weekend I like to not follow a schedule if at all possible. And so I only do my social media posting Mondays and Fridays. For other people, okay, and oh, by the way, and it works really well for me because I get this refreshment and then I kind of go back to my habit. And I should really say it's not necessarily a personality difference. It could be depending on what habit you have. Okay, but for me, I tend to take breaks. So even, for example, I have a habit of praying 3 times a day. It's how I really feel connected to my spiritual source, praying 3 times a day. I do that Monday through Fridays, and it works really well for me to do it. On Saturdays and Sundays, I take a break from that habit. I may still pray, but it's sort of like a bonus. I don't feel like I have to track it on Saturday and Sundays. For you, though, it may make work better for you to keep the chain, right? For example, Seinfeld, the famous comedian, when he was asked, how do you become an excellent comedian? Okay, he said, take out a daily calendar, take out a monthly calendar. And I want you to so have a monthly calendar and have a notebook. In that notebook, I want you to write at least one new joke every day. Write at least one new joke every day. So whatever you can come up with. And then once you've done that, you put an X on that monthly calendar on that day. And then the next day, you write another new joke, whatever you can come up with, and then you put another X on that next day. And then just keep going day after day. And he says the secret of becoming a great comedian is to never break the chain, is to keep going X every single day forever. And that's how Seinfeld says he became a great comedian. So that's an example of someone for whom it worked really well not to break the chain. Okay, because maybe once the chain is broken, it's easy to fall off the wagon. But for me, it works best to have a weekend break. So you got to come up with understanding yourself and what works best for you. Okay, let's go to the next habit personality, which is abstainers versus moderators. Okay, so this is when it comes to not doing something bad. Okay, not having those sugary snacks or not indulging in web surfing in a particular time of the day. Okay, so abstainers are people who say it really works best for them to completely go cold turkey and to cut out that bad habit in their life. And moderators are people for whom they say, you know what, I suffer too much when I completely abstain. It works better for me to indulge occasionally. So what are you? Okay, for me, I'm a moderator. Okay, it works better for me. Like when it comes to sugary snacks, I indulge occasionally, and I'm able to not. So for abstainers, the reason why they abstain is because if they indulge in something, they go crazy. They have too much of it. For moderators, they're able to have a little bit of it, and it satisfies them enough where they don't feel like they have to go crazy. And they go crazy if they can't have a little bit of it. So you have to see which type you are and then stick to that. Okay, so that makes sense? All right, so let me go on to the next section, which is talking about, okay, let's talk about a couple of the main habit areas that affect pretty much all of us that would really change our life if we improved. One of them is sleep. Okay, so one of the tips that have really been helpful for me is to start your evening routine early enough so that you aren't so tired that you sleep late. Okay, you know what I mean, right? Because if you go too late into the night, you get so tired that your discipline wanes so much that you don't have the discipline to start your evening routine, and so you end up sleeping really late. But if you move your evening routine up a little closer into the evening, then you still have some energy, you still have some willpower that you can start brushing your teeth, right? Or whatever you need to do to prepare for bed. Okay? So start your evening routine earlier so that you don't sleep so late, so that you don't not get enough sleep. If you start routine, so that's been life-changing for me. Okay? And also the second sleep tip is to structure your life, structure your day so that you have enough personal time, so that you don't resent going to bed with enough time to get enough sleep. So some of us, I should say, we don't go to sleep early enough because we feel like the whole day we gave our time to other people, and the only time we have to ourselves is late into the night. No, you've got to create better boundaries in your day so that you're not giving to other people all the time, so that you have enough personal time during the day, so that you feel like at night you can go to sleep without feeling like I've got to read my book, or I've got to do my writing, or I've got to chill out and watch some videos, or do that earlier enough. Okay. So for example, I do that right after dinner from 8 to 9 p.m. is my personal time. Okay. I don't go out during that time. I don't, take any appointments during that time. That's my personal time. Okay. All right. Exercise. Super important, as we all know, but just as a reminder for you, when you exercise properly, you relieve your anxiety, which changes your whole life, right? You make better decisions. You just have more quality of life. So when you exercise properly, you relieve your anxiety, it improves your mood, it benefits your brain. So you keep your brain young and healthy if you exercise enough. Now, what is enough exercise? I did some research on this a couple years ago now. It should still be the same. But if you do brisk walking 2.5 hours a week, that is enough exercise for most human beings. Now, of course, more exercise can get you a bit more benefit. If everybody just if everybody just did brisk walking 2.5 hours a week, that gives the biggest bang for the buck in terms of relieved anxiety, improved mood, and brain health. Now, that 2.5 hours a week ideally is split up so that it's not all in one chunk. So I think what works really well, at least for me, is to do brisk walking 30 minutes 5 times a week. 30 minutes 5 times a week is basically 2.5 hours a week. So if you do that, you will get, so in other words, imagine this. Exercise benefits are like this. It goes up really dramatically, and then it starts to taper off, okay? So the point at which it starts to taper off is 2.5 hours of brisk walking a week. If you do 2.5 hours of brisk walking, you're getting the most benefits, but without having to do a lot more for more benefits. Does that make sense? And what is brisk walking? Brisk walking is walking fast enough so that you have a hard time having a conversation with someone else. But if you're able to have a thoughtful conversation with someone else at whatever speed you're walking, you're not walking fast enough. So, it's brisk walking is somewhere between regular walking and jogging is brisk walking, okay? So, the other thing about exercise is it improves your memory and also improves your willpower. This is awesome. So if you brisk walk half an hour Monday through Friday, or half an hour 5 times a week, you will actually have more discipline and willpower for everything else in your life. Seriously. This is like one of those secrets of success, right? Walk fast enough 5 times a week, half an hour each time. Okay. So, let's go on to eating. Okay, so the habit of eating. The main point that this book emphasized for me is to eat. Well, actually, I'm thinking that I'm not sure if I got this from the book or just from my own experience too. Is to eat at regular times. Okay, let me say this over. Are you eating something at least once every 2 hours? I really think that once every 2 hours, eating something is good to keep up your brain energy so that you make better decisions and then you don't make bad decisions. To buy something you shouldn't buy, or to say something to someone you shouldn't say. I think eating once every hour and a half is actually good practice, to be honest. Eating once every 90 minutes is what I prefer to do. It can simply be something as simple as, a half a tablespoon of peanut butter. Okay, great. If you, or almond butter or whatever nut butter you're able to eat, or a handful of nuts. Really, really healthy. It keeps up your brain energy. Or if you can have some, a small bowl of vegetables with some light salad dressing, every 90 minutes. between a meal. So basically let's say you have a meal every 6 hours, okay? Is that right? You have breakfast at 7 o'clock, maybe lunch at 1 o'clock, that's 6 hours, and dinner at 7 o'clock. So yeah, so let's say you have a meal every 6 hours, then you have a snack at 8:30 a.m., you have a snack at 10 a.m., and then you have a snack at 11:30 a.m. So guess what? Not only does it help your brain health and decision-making, and therefore your business is better, but you have more fun throughout the day. It's fun to eat, right? So come up with some healthy snacks. Nuts, vegetables and nuts are really great because they don't give you the sugar crash, right? It's kind of steady energy. Fruits, whole fruits, not fruit juice is bad because fruit juice has no fiber in it, so you get the sugar spike and crash, and then you make bad decisions again. But whole fruit can be good, but some whole fruit is very sugar intensive and could give you that sugar spike and crash. So what you should do is look up if you like fruit, look up low glycemic fruit and then eat those types of fruits. Or if you like other types of snacks, look up low glycemic snacks and eat those kinds of snacks, okay? All right, so fourth major habit that we all need to improve on is uncluttering, decluttering, okay? Great quote from the book is, outer order contributes to inner calm. Outer order, having a clean desk on your computer and on clean counters in your home, contributes to inner calm. So do you have a time in your day or a time in your week where what you do is to clear off the counters, clear off your computer desktop, any other clutter, parts of the floor or whatever that, kind of nag at you every time you walk by it or every time you look at it, you're like, just take half an hour and declutter and it will make you feel so good. So promise me that you will schedule half hour. You will create good boundaries. Says, no, I'm not going to, during this I'm going to for sure take half hour once a week to clear my counters, okay? It will make a real difference in the rest of your life. You'll have more inner calm. You'll make better decisions. You'll have better relationships. What could be better than that, okay? All right, let's go on to, interesting thought from the book that kind of contradicted what I used to think. I used to be a late night person, especially when I was a teenager. When I was in college, I used to sleep at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., no problem. I had lots of energy late into the night. In the past 5 years, I have purposely moved myself to become an early bird. Well, for some of you, it might not seem like I wake up every single day at 6 a.m. now. When the alarm goes off, I have practiced. Okay, now this is interesting, and this might something you might want to try. Okay, this is a practice. When the alarm goes off, I get vertical. I take myself from my bed and I stand up. No questions asked. For me, this is one of those all or nothing type of habits. I do not allow myself to indulge with a few more minutes of sleep, hit the snooze button, because I know if I do that, it's just a pattern. I just don't. So I started practicing saying, all right, no matter what, I'm just going to stand up when my alarm goes off and I'm going to walk to the bathroom and at least I'm going to use the bathroom. Now, if once I'm in the bathroom and using the bathroom, if I feel just exhausted, I'll go to bed. But what happens is once I started practicing getting vertical and going to the bathroom, guess what? I started getting this wonderful habit that whenever the alarm goes off, I make a move. It's changed my life. It's really been wonderful. And so I've been able to steadily go from being a night owl to an early bird. Okay, so I literally, when I made the change, you're going to find this funny, but I set an alarm in the evenings to start my evening routine because otherwise I get so tired late that I get no discipline to start my evening. So I set an alarm to my evening routine and I started to do that 1 minute earlier each night. So literally, I started the evening routine alarm at 10:30 p.m. This was, I think, two years ago. I don't remember when I started this, a couple years ago. And then I made sure I was able to do that 10:30 p.m. Okay, great. Once I did 10:30 p.m., the alarm went off and I was able to move and start my evening routine. Then I went to 10:29 p.m. And once I got that done, then I went to 10:28 p.m. Well, guess when my evening routine alarm is happening now? It's 8:45 p.m. So my evening routine now starts at 8:45 p.m. I'm able to get up from whatever I'm doing, start my evening routine, brush my teeth, put away the food, leftovers from dinner or whatever, floss, walk my dog one last time, bring everything into whatever is needed into the bedroom and start my shower. I shower at night. So I've been able to actually change my life from being a night owl to an early bird. But the book actually says that research shows that people are usually wired for either being an early bird or being a night owl. So if you're a night owl, don't feel bad, don't feel guilty, because that may be your wiring, okay? And also, there are certain times of the human life where people tend to be early birds or people tend to be night owls. So teenagers tend to be night owls. Older people tend to be early birds. So it really depends on the human body. Maybe I'm getting old, so maybe early bird is better for me now. But it really works better for my business schedule anyway. Okay. Oh yeah, then that's the other thing. Society tends to favor the early birds. So that's why the night owls tend to feel guilty. But I'm here to tell you, you don't have to feel guilty if you're a night owl. Structure your life so that you're happy being a night owl. So if you get stuff done at night, get stuff done at night. Some of the most amazing writers and artists and business people in history have been night owls, and they get tons of stuff done at night. Do it. If it works for you, do it. Don't be guilty. Set the boundaries with the people in your life to tell them, listen, research has shown that my night owlness is a wiring of the brain. So, and I get stuff done. So don't bother me about it. Okay. So there you go. Hopefully that'll change your life. All right. Next thing, when it comes to habits, making it measurable is very helpful. Okay. Here's a quote from the book. Self-measurement brings self-awareness, and self-awareness strengthens our self-control. Isn't that beautiful? I love that. Let me say that again. Self-measurement brings self-awareness, and self-awareness strengthens self-control. So you've got to, whatever habit you're trying to create, make it measurable. Don't just say, I'm going to write more. I'm going to read more. I'm going to exercise more. That's not measurable. If you're going to write more, say, I'm going to write every morning for 30 minutes. Now that's measurable, because that you can actually observe to say, you can't, so you can actually easily observe that, did I write for 30 minutes this morning? Okay. And am I going to write for 30 minutes tomorrow morning? Do you see what I mean? So have that, a business habit. Email one prospective referral partner each week. Very measurable. Did I do it this week or did I not? If I haven't done it this week, I'm going to do it today. So make it measurable. Versus get more writing done or expand my visibility. Those are not measurable, and that's why you might find yourself having a hard time sticking to that expand your visibility habit, because what exactly are you doing and when are you doing it? Okay, so what are you doing? For how long do you do it? When are you actually going to do the activity? Where you're going to do it? Those things make your habit measurable. Okay. Another quote from the book: if you want something to count in your life, you should figure out a way to count it. Actual measurement is crucial, because when you guess what you're doing, you're often wildly inaccurate. Okay. So one example, people who are trying to eat healthier, a very simple tweak is to start keeping a food journal. So they start having a notebook wherever they eat food, and they write down exactly what they ate. Even if they change nothing else about their eating habit, it's simply the act of writing down what they ate that's a measurement, creates more self-awareness. And as we know, self-awareness creates more self-control. So as they start writing down what they eat, they just naturally start to eat healthier. I mean, it's the weirdest thing. Well, it's not weird. Now we know, right? Social science. So another example, tracking your time naturally makes you spend time more wisely. It's a natural thing. If you start writing down what you do, and I've talked about this in one of my short videos before, and if you remind me, I will make sure to put that short video underneath in the episode notes. Okay. So, another one is money. If you are wanting to spend money more wisely, monitor every day what money you spend, and also what money you made. If you want to be more, disciplined about making money, as well as spending money, every day take 3 minutes to write down what did I spend today, and what did I make today. Okay, and that natural habit will create wiser money in your life. All right, so next thing I want to say is, let's see, next section. Okay, beware the false choice. Beware the false choice. What do I mean by that? Okay, just give me a second here to pull up that notes. Okay, beware the false choice. Do you ever say to yourself, I haven't been exercising because I've been too busy with work or too busy with family? That's a false choice. It's not work or family versus exercise. You can do both if you do both in moderation. Okay? You're not working 24/7. You're not with family, doing family stuff 24/7. No, you make a choice to work a certain number of hours. You make a choice to, yes, it's a choice. You always have a choice. You always have a choice. If you're with family all the time and doing all this family stuff, it's because you're allowing yourself to do it. You are allowing yourself to say yes to, let's do this. Let's go out and do that. Let's help me with this. You can always say, not right now. You can always say, I'd be happy to help you for half an hour, and then I have to go exercise. Because if I exercise, I will be a better mom, grandma, spouse, friend, business partner for you. Okay? So you always have a choice. Don't let other people be your excuse for exercising, for reading, for writing, for eating healthier. You always have a choice. Okay, another one. I don't have time to write. I have too many emails I have to answer. Beware the false choice. It's not either or. You can answer your emails to a certain extent and you can write. You don't have to answer every email that comes into your inbox. You can say, listen, every day I'm going to spend half an hour or 1 hour, whatever you decide to spend. I'm going to spend that time answering emails. So when that time comes to answer email, I'm going to set my alarm for half an hour and I'm going to say, whatever I can answer in half an hour, that's it. I'm going to stop because I'm going to do my writing. I am that important. I am that important. You are that important. Your writing career is that important. Okay, so if you time box just half an hour to answer email, you will find yourself naturally answering the important emails and ignoring, not even opening the emails that you know are not important compared to your writing career or something. Okay. A third one. If I go to sleep earlier, I won't have time to myself. Okay, we've already addressed that. It's not an either or. You can have time for yourself and you can sleep earlier enough to get enough sleep, whatever your sleep schedule is, whether it's 3 a.m. to 11 a.m. or whether it's 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. Okay, whatever your sleep schedule is, you can have enough sleep if you give yourself that time to yourself, your me time earlier in the day. Okay. I'm so busy that I'm going to make those doctor's appointments once things calm down. Baloney. That's a false choice. If a doctor's appointment is important, You make those appointments. Don't say you're so busy. You're allowing yourself to lie to yourself. Stop lying to yourself. Okay? That's the first person to stop lying to, is yourself. So, all right. A couple more tips, and then I'm going to complete here. The value of each instance. This is huge. One action in your life is inconsequential, but the habit of a chain of those actions in your life completely changes your destiny. Say that again. One action is inconsequential, but the habit is life-changing. So in other words, the value of each time you do the habit itself may seem like it's nothing, but the value of that thing is the reinforcement of the chain, okay, of habits. So the action, so for example, oh, I'm not going to exercise. Well, it doesn't matter if I skip one day and exercise, right? Even though I said I was going to exercise today, it doesn't matter if I skip it, right? No. It does matter, because the exercise today in itself is valuable for you and your brain. Okay, that's number one. But number two is the exercise is valuable as a reinforcement for you to make sure you exercise tomorrow and the next day as well. If you don't do this today, it's much less likely you're going to do it tomorrow. And it's even less likely you'll do it the next day. Does that make sense? So the value of your habit today is important, not just in itself. It is important in itself, but it's also important to reinforce tomorrow and the next day. So think about how, if I do this right now, I'm going to get the benefits now, and I'm going to get the benefit of reinforcing the next time I do it and the next time I do it as well. Make sense? Okay. So the flip side to this is to not give yourself the pressure of thinking you have to do this forever. So don't think, oh, I don't want to exercise today because I got to exercise every single day, right? So no. Just say, you know what? I'm only going to think of today. I'm just going to exercise today because I know that today's exercise is valuable for me today. I'm just going to do it today. Or you're going to say, okay, another wonderful habit is to not indulge in negative thinking, right? To not indulge in negative thinking, or whether it's guilt or lust or judgment or sadness or anger or whatever. Okay, so not indulge in those things, right? To say, right now, I'm being tempted to think that, and to think, well, gosh, I want to give in to temptation because it's so exhausting to have to think to think rightly for the rest of my life. No, just this moment, think in the way that you truly want to think. Just in this moment, turn your thoughts toward the light. Just this moment. That's all. Because all you have is this moment. Turn your thoughts toward the light. Let the next moment take care of itself. Okay. The value of each moment. Value and the choice of each moment. Right? Okay. Similar to this idea is that a little is better than nothing. Okay, this is huge. Again, okay, staying on that positive thinking. Oh my God, I'm tempted to judge this person. I'm tempted to, go do this thing that I'm going to regret later. Okay, I'm tempted to not do this positive thing that I'm tempted to not exercise. I'm tempted to not do my writing today. I'm tempted to not do my reading today. I'm tempted to not go to bed early today. Okay, a little is better than nothing. Or I'm tempted to not eat my salad today, or to not eat my serving of a handful of nuts today, or whatever you want to be eating. Okay, a little is better than nothing. I'm sorry, Buddy is growling here. So like, what's going on? Okay, a little is better than nothing. Remember this. So whatever habit you want to do, say A little is better than nothing. So today, in this moment, I'm just going to do a little bit of it. At least a little bit of it better than nothing. Okay. If you cannot resolve to do the full habit right now, just do a little bit of it. All right. Let me go on to talking about. Oh, this is this is. I wish you could see Buddy growling right now. This is hilarious. I have no idea what he's growling at. We're alone in a room. Okay, so all right, let me go on to talking about bad habits and how you can. Here are 5 quick tips to prevent yourself from doing bad habits. Bad habits are based in impulsivity. Impulsivity, like, oh, I'm feeling like doing something, I'm gonna go and do it. So the key thing about bad habit is to make it inconvenient for you to do that thing you're going to regret later. Okay, how do you make something inconvenient? Here are 5 ways to do it. Number 1, say I'm going to do something else first, and then I'll go and indulge in that bad habit. So I can get my sugary snack after writing for another 15 minutes. You know, that just make that deal with yourself. I'm going to write for 15 minutes and then I'm going to get my sugary snack, indulge. Chances are, when you write for another 15 minutes, you'll find yourself continuing to write and maybe you'll forget about that sugary snack, whatever, okay? Or if you spend money too freely at a store, say, I'm not going to put this item in my shopping cart first. I'm going to go into the rest of the store. I'm going to shop the things I need and then I'll come back and if I still want it, I'll get it, okay? Or another do something else first is to take a whiff of peppermint before you decide to eat that bad snack. It's something weird that if you take a whiff of peppermint, that oftentimes quells the craving. Try it. So get some peppermint aromatherapy, peppermint essence or whatever, and just keep that on hand. Okay, second way of making something inconvenient is to distance yourself between you and that bad thing. So if you find yourself checking your cell phone too much, especially when you're with someone else, or when you're trying to get some work done, leave your cell phone in another room when you're trying to get some work done, when you're trying to spend some time with quality time with someone. Distance yourself, okay? Third one, hide any cues for that thing you don't want to be doing. So instead of having that bad snack on the kitchen counter staring you in the face every time you walk by, okay, or that bowl of candies, right? Put that away somewhere else or walk another route, okay? So put the bad snacks way in the back of the cupboard so you can very hard to find and see. Hide the cues. Or if you find yourself checking Facebook too often, checking email too often, close your email. Turn off your email notifications. Stop that. Stop seeing the new emails coming in all the time, okay? Number 4 is to delay that activity until way later in the day. Just say, all right, I can have my email time, but I won't have it until the afternoon instead of doing it in the morning. This is what I do. I make a deal with myself not to respond to most of my emails until the end of my workday, because I know that at the end of my workday, I want to stop working so I can have my personal time. So I say, all right, I've got half an hour to respond to as many emails as I can, and I get emails done a lot faster than if I try responding in the morning. Of course, in the morning, I'll respond to important emails, urgent emails from clients, but if something is important but not urgent, I'll respond to everything at the end of the day. And then number 5 is to make that bad habit have more effort. So, if you find yourself eating too much, eat with your non-dominant hand instead of with your dominant hand. It's very easy to eat. Eat with your non-dominant hand, okay? If you're eating some cookies, you don't want to be eating so much. Make a really difficult tie in the cookie bag so that it's like, oh, I don't, too much trouble, and then you kind of drop it. Does that make sense? Or brush your teeth after dinner. Okay, brush your teeth right after dinner to prevent nighttime snacking. This is what I do as well. I floss and I brush. I'm like, oh, it's too much work to then eat that wonderful snack that, my wife is eating or whatever, okay? So just brush your teeth right after dinner. And the flip side is the same. Make something you want to do more convenient, okay? So for example, if you find yourself bringing in a bunch of mail and always leaving your mail on the counter and that mail starts to pile up, put a recycling bin right by your front door. So when you bring in the mail, you're curious about what the mail is, and then you just, okay, things you don't need, you put in the recycling bin. Make it more convenient. Okay. Another idea is to, if you want to go jogging more often, make your running shoes, put it by the door so that it's much more convenient. Let's see here. Prepare your healthy meals in advance, okay? Or put those ingredients in one place so it's easy to prepare. So talk with your family or friends about how I'm trying to get to do this more often. How can I make it more convenient for me to do it, okay? Really, really hugely important, because as human beings, convenience is incredibly, it's an incredible lever that we don't even realize. It just makes things much more likely or much less likely, depending on if it's convenient or not. Okay, so you know what? I think that's probably enough for this episode. I think I've probably shared enough with you. If you have found this episode helpful, and actually I would say this, what is one or two ideas that you found most helpful from the episode? I would love to know if you can comment below. This will help several people. It'll help me because I feel like you've watched this and you got some benefit out of it. So it makes me feel like, hey, I want to keep doing this kind of book summary in the future. It also will help other people who are going to be watching this to say, oh, there's some valuable tips in here, and what tip seems to be most helpful for people. So comment below this video. Let me know what's been most helpful, or what's one idea that you're likely to implement. And until the next episode of the podcast and the video, I want to remind you that you are loved. You are loved by a force much greater than you. There is no way you can screw up your life. There's no way you can screw up your life so badly that you are not still incredibly, deeply, forever loved. So from that perspective of security, safety, and loving kindness for yourself, create great habits so that you can truly experience a wonderful quality of life. So until the next episode, I wish you well, and remember to keep your thoughts positive and keep your heart open. Be well.